What's going on? Why the Wi-Fi ain't working? It's like anything I click on isn't coming on. I don't know why. The audio is fixed. I fixed the audio, but now my console isn't doing stuff. Yeah, every time I click on something, it says it's taking longer than usual. I don't know why. How's practice? Like, see, what is this? I don't know why it's doing this. Hold up. It's funny. I'm obviously the middle. What kind of silly question is that? No one has the potential to be the middle other than me. Like, I don't know what's going on. Everything just doesn't work. Now it's working, but why? Why did I have to restart my console for the app to start working? Why did it not work in the first place? I don't understand, man. Oh, new video.
Deep underground.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Skip, let me skip. Free me from your poison.
Right now, Sonic Shakes are half price after 7 p.m. when you order online or in the app. So
Deep underground, there is this 40-year-old teenager who really likes blood. Moog likes it so much that he is the lord of it. He even has a DeviantArt account, so naturally he has also kidnapped someone and stuffed them into a giant weird egg cocoon thing. On the other hand, he also has a servant who just sucks, man. This guy is so annoying. All he does is call you lambkin and call you a loser. Needless to say, there appears to be some kind of deal here, so in this video, join me as I hope to discover what the deal is. There are two ways to reach Moog and his mansion. The first way is to seek employment with the guy that called you maidenless. As you play the game, he will eventually move to a church in Liurnia, where he will set up an assassination agency. Basically, Vare is a small business owner and Volcano Manor is full of corporate suits. After you do most of his quest, he will give you an item that instantly teleports you to Moog's crib. The other way to reach Moog is basically the scenic route. You have to get very close to the end of the game. The lift that you use to access the mountaintops of the giants actually has a secret. Not only can it go up, it can also go down. To access this revolution in elevator technology, you first need to go to the village of the Albinorics, where you talk to a dying old guy and promise to fulfill his dying wish. Of course, this is a lie. We just want to use the elevator, mate. Now that we have earned his complete trust, he will give us part of the key and then die instantly. The other half can be found in the mountaintops of the giants in Castle Sol, guarded by a guy called Commander Nile. If you read the description of the weapon he drops, he freed a group of imprisoned knights and led them as an army of no nation. So we basically just fought Big Boss, which implies Commander O'Neill in Caelid is actually a body double of Nile, and not just a case of asset reuse. Now we can use this completed medallion to unlock the exotic power of pressing the down
I don't get it. Well, I don't get that comment.
drops. He freed a group of imprisoned knights and led them as an army of no nation. So we basically just fought Big Boss, which implies Commander O'Neill in Caelid is actually a body double of Nile, and not just a case of asset reuse. Now we can use this completed medallion to unlock the exotic power of pressing the down button in an elevator. This takes you to a secret area where you can fight your strongest enemy, yourself, but only after fighting your other strongest enemy, invisible walkways. Because the game is Elden Ring, it turns out your mind still has some more internalized strongest enemies that you aren't aware of yet, such as the worst snowstorm you have ever seen, filled with shirtless guys and giant ghosts. This is a core part of the human condition that I'm glad they have addressed. Eventually you will emerge into a space with some petrified trees where one of Moog's goons will invade you. I mean that in the what's up boss kind of way and not the other way. After all of this you will have one more threat to contest with, a very extra albinoric. I'm not clear on the esoteric lingo, but from what I can gather, this one defecates into the mother toilet. After you slay them, we are finally at Moog's front door. And that's kind of what I like about this zone. You will first see it when you enter Shifra River. It's looming over the entire zone, but it's not clear how you get there. Then later on when you access the upper area of Shifra River after you defeat Radahn, it's still visible and still inaccessible. It's a secret area visible from a secret area within a secret area. Then in order to actually reach it, you have to go to a separate third secret area which finally lets you access it. It genuinely epitomizes From Software's world design, leading to a great moment when you realize that you have finally reached that area you have been wondering about all game. And on a side note, it's a very From Software thing that the DLC entrance is going to be hidden behind such a long chain of secrets. Just after the first sight of Grace, we come across a tragic sight. My brothers have fallen victim to a tragic blood addiction. It's not even a vampiric thing. They don't imbibe the blood. It's more skincare related. It exfoliates their pores, whatever that means. It turns their skin red and makes them grow horns. This is why using other people's blood in your skincare routine is outlawed in most states in my country. My brothers don't even recognize me. They attack me in a blood curse induced craze, and the ones who haven't fallen victim to the blood curse instead fell victim to Valorant. It's truly a tragic state of being. There's only one way they can be saved now. I realize something now. That brother of mine who was so extra was actually trying to save me from entering the portal and being exposed to this misery. They were truly mother. This zone is pretty much a massive pool of blood, which is very disgusting, and definitely an infection vector for diseases, and nothing shows this more than the ultimate pigeon weapons. This game has a lot of pigeons, big pigeons, small pigeons, scary pigeons, and even dog pigeons, but none of them are this rancid. They have a lot of health because they have abandoned the traditional pigeon code of justice. That might sound weird to you, but it's something that exists in real life. Over the many times in my life that I have conversed with pigeons, they have repeatedly told me about their code of justice. Basically, they have sworn to eat anything but the flesh and blood of another pigeon. These pigeons have broken that vow, and through this perversion, obtained a limitless power. This might sound terrible, but it's great for us, because we can use them as a rune farm. While wandering through these putrid pools, you can get invaded by nameless white masks. Instantly you are going to think, oh, it's that theater kid from earlier who probably watched too many horror musicals. However, they are actually different people. The fact that they use different weapons spells this out for us. They are all war surgeons. If you look at the description of their armor, it tells us that Moog kidnapped them, and the only one able to tame the accursed blood was Vare. Because they were war surgeons, they would have encountered a lot of blood. So it makes sense that some of this blood could have had Moog's blood curse in it, which repeated exposure to would result in them also falling under its curse. The description also states that they were effectively mercy killers, meaning most of their cases had low chances of survival. So it's not like Moog just went around grabbing random doctors. He slowly wore down those who had seen the worst that humanity had to offer, until they came to him. This interpretation implies that Vare wasn't manipulated, and instead chose to follow Moog of his own will, which means he wasn't a doctor because he wanted to help people, but because he was really into the mercy killing part. Towards the end of this blood lake, you can discover that some of my brothers have removed their shirts. The reasoning behind this is quite simple. The giant skeleton spirits really like overweight goblin people with terrible posture, and as a result, goblin people can summon them, which explains why they attacked me in the snowfield earlier. At this point, we can finally approach the Moglin Dynasty Mausoleum. You get a look at some kind of shambling blood zombies, and once you walk past them, you immediately enter a post-9/11 video game. They explode into a blood fart that causes bleed damage. However, you don't know which ones actually will, so it creates a sense of paranoia within you. This is survival horror. There is also this giant blood blob that can behave interestingly. At the end of the path is the mausoleum itself. The aforementioned blood fart guys seem to be worshipping it. It's quite dark inside and you'll soon find out why. When you get ambushed by the sanguine nobles, they have quite a unique moveset. For example, they can expel a large amount of bodily fluid, which will slow you down and give you bleed. I think it's best if we don't think too much about how they do this. You might also notice that they have horns, just like my accursed skincare routine enthusiast brothers. It's safe to say that this is a side effect of Moog's blood curse, which is interesting because it also implies that somehow the Omen curse has intermixed with it, which makes his victims just like him, and in a roundabout way, members of his dynasty. The sanguine nobles are most likely the other members of the Moogwin dynasty, because let's be real here, I don't believe for a second Moog ever managed to have children. That requires getting laid. So instead he inducted certain people into his dynasty through his blood curse, which makes sense because they are literally becoming of his blood. The description of their armor set tells us this, so in a way you could say that they are becoming family guys. This connection is only further strengthened by the nearby presence of Peter Griffin. There is also just a large group of guys hanging out in here. If you go near them, it triggers their AI and they all follow you. You can't shake them. It's because before the game took place, our character was actually a K-pop musician. This explains their advanced dancing skills. However, after a scandal involving a boyfriend reveal at a funeral, our management banished us to the lands between and inflicted an undying blood curse on our stands. However, like their blood curse, their loyalty is undying, and they still remember us. This is the true prepare to cry. Now, after that ordeal, we are finally clear to face Moog. But there is something a lot of players might miss here. It involves Vare, and it only happens if you complete his questline. You can begin his questline by going to the Rose Church in Liurnia. This location itself is interesting. You'll notice that it's inhabited by a sanguine noble, these disgusting blood blobs, and blood roses. The description of the roses spell out the link between this church and Moog, particularly beloved by those who serve the Lord of Blood. Glory to his inevitable reign. If you look nearby, you can find a group of Albinorics staring at the church. This small bit of environmental storytelling explains the presence of my brothers amongst Moog's followers. Albinorics were created by Raya Lucaria, which is why they inhabit Liurnia. By having this church-based community outreach program in Liurnia, Moog can recruit my brothers under the deception of providing them with various faith-based skincare services, and funnel them from Liurnia to his domain, where they wait in fear until they are converted into his loyal followers. It's quite tragic. They just wanted to be moisturized, but instead were transported miles underground and enslaved by an ancient blood curse. This is something I'm sure people with dry skin can relate to. Vari can be found at the front of the church.
You claimed a great room and had your audience with the two fingers at the round table home. What was your impression?
Because he looks like a blood-stained inhuman figure off a metal album cover. I chose a response that was skeptical of the institution.
Aha, your intuition serves you well.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on
What do
today?
you think about
Picking out the Duralast brakes I ordered online this morning.
What sucks about this guy's video?
Right now, you can
that
save
video don't
15%
suck. I
when
love,
you buy
I
a set of
love watching
Duralast
it.
pads with
Makes me laugh,
rotors.
and I like listening to him talk. What sucks about him is he jokes, and sometimes he would mix actual lore in with the jokes. So I'm having to listen extra hard to distinguish the actual. He's obvious with his jokes, but I'm so into the lore that in the middle of him telling actual lore, he'll make a joke. I'm like, no, that's not what I wanted to hear. What happened next? Not a joke. Like he was giving like lore. And then he talked about his brothers.
Naturally, he gives us a finger, as if he's a cat and we're the owner. In order to progress his quest, you need to invade another player.
What do you mean? So you tell me you can't hear this? Hold on, let me check. Let me find out. Granted, I don't ever believe you anyway.
3 times.
What about
You
now?
don't actually need to win. It's okay if you are terrible. Alternatively, they added an NPC invasion as part of an update. You have to go to the Writhe Blood ruins in the Altus Plateau. What's interesting is that this place heavily features the hallmarks of Moog's followers, such as the blood blobs and dog pigeons inflicted with his blood curse. The boss is even a sanguine noble. It makes you wonder if this could potentially be a ruin of one of Moog's community outreach programs. He truly had a soft spot for society's most vulnerable, for those who have the driest skin. You can find Magnus
See,
of
he's
the
doing it
Claw
again.
Summon sign above ground. It's a fairly straightforward fight with him. Like his namesake, he employs some of the beast incantations. Now you can return to Vare. After putting up with him calling you Lambkin again, you can have him anoint you into the Mogwin dynasty. However, first we must soak a piece of cloth with the blood of a maiden.
Normally this ritual would involve killing one's own maiden, but since you are maidenless,
Thanks, Vare. As if I needed another reminder. You can actually get this blood in multiple ways, such as from an NPC, but the easiest way is to go through the 4 belfries and return to the start of the game, where you can take the blood of the dead maiden in the chapel. This character is very interesting. We don't know much about them at all. They could potentially have been our maiden, but there is no way to know for certain. However, if we think about why someone would kill her, everything becomes clear. Maybe it could have been one of the demigods trying to prevent a future Tarnished from becoming Elden Lord. But that doesn't make sense, because it's not like every Tarnished would be strong enough to threaten them.
Right.
Alternatively, maybe it could have been Anastasia, an invader who disguises themselves as a maiden in order to hunt Tarnished. But in that case, why would she have spared us? No, it can only be one person. Think about the one person throughout the entire game who has constantly commented on our lack of maiden. Vare, this absolute clown. He killed our maiden for the sole purpose of bullying us. How else does he immediately know we are maidenless?
unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless.
Of course, it does work nicely for him outside of that, because without our maiden, we don't really have any ties to the 2 fingers, which makes it easier for him to recruit us to the Mogwin dynasty. Another connection that further strengthens this theory is that his weapon is a razor-sharp bouquet of roses, which draws parallels between the London monster, who allegedly attacked women with flowers that had a spike hidden within them. Of course, there is also the fact that he literally asked us to collect the blood of a maiden. Armed with this knowledge, we are going to continue doing exactly what he says. Okay, I know that sounds like a terrible idea, but the Mogwin dynasty has a good insurance plan and plenty of vacation days. After this,
I
we
love
just
insurance.
need to indulge him once more.
Now, give me your finger. Oh, heavens. Clench your teeth or something.
Now our finger lets us invade other players whenever we want. This is because Moog's blood curse is inside of us. Moog is literally inside of us. Yeah, I know how that sounds. We also have been given a medallion that teleports us right outside of Moog's mausoleum. Now if we go to the end of the mausoleum, we can find a summon sign on the ground. It's finally time to find out who is truly maidenless. He chucks a tantrum because we betrayed him after he betrayed us, and then throws in one more Lambkin. What is this guy's problem? Once you defeat him, it's not over. You actually get to gloat over him as he slowly realizes his god has abandoned him. Now after that ordeal, we are finally clear to face Moog. The first thing you see is this dry, unmoisturized hand. You can hear the crackle of the skin as it falls. Then suddenly this red color moisturizer is expelled from the hand and falls onto the ground. Moog rises out of it and reveals that the hand belongs to Mikola. You see, Moog turned himself into sentient red moisturizer in order to revitalize Mikola's dry skin. It's colored red because red makes things go faster. Ergo, the red moisturizer will moisturize faster. That's canon. It's in the lore.
That's
A lot
canon,
of his
it's in the
attacks
lore.
rely on the innate arcane abilities of his moisturizer. It builds up a bleed which can nuke you if you don't have enough health. The most iconic part of the fight is halfway through. He instantly goes full anime villain and starts counting down to unleashing his restrained power. If you have the power of New Game Plus on your side, you can just heal through the massive amounts of damage he unleashes during it. But if you don't have enough enough health, you have to go fight this random divorced woman on the other side of the map. Her and Yura used to be in a situationship, but they broke up after he got really into swords for some reason, and moved to Japan in order to study the ways of the blade. Arguably it was worth it because he gained the longest sword you have ever seen. Look
It's
at that
sick.
thing. Anyway, after you defeat Eleonora in a battle without honor or humanity, she will drop a red electrolyte tablet that you can dissolve into a glass of water. Drinking it will form a bubble around your body that protects you from Moog's phase change. This visual effect also stacks with the other visual effects you can use in your flask, so you can end up looking quite warped. His second phase is significantly stronger. He grows black wings because I guess he really liked Sephiroth as a teenager or something. It's interesting because you don't really see this style of angelic wings much throughout From Software's RPGs. They have many fantasy hallmarks like dragons, big swords, and an old guy that you can hang out with while he bangs hammers on things. However, we don't see this wing design often. There are the angel enemies from the Ringed City DLC, but they are more styled after insects. Moog has feathers on his wings, which draws parallels between birds, more specifically pigeons. This is hard confirmation that Moog has broken the sacred vow that binds all of pigeon kind, and consumed the flesh of another pigeon. Now I know he doesn't look like a pigeon, but aren't all creatures under the sun just different variations of pigeons? Aren't
Exactly.
humans just pigeons without the ability to fly?
Exactly, Kalani. He's speaking facts. He's speaking nothing but facts. He understands. He gets it. He gets it. No, you don't see the big picture here, man. You're not looking at, you gotta look, you gotta see it. You gotta see the big picture. We're all just pigeons, man, in this big world here. You see, it doesn't make sense. We're all being watched. They're crazy, I tell you, they're all crazy. I tried to warn you. They all laughed at me. But look at this. We're all just pigeons, man. We're all just pigeons. He gets it. I told you, Kalani. We're all pigeons.
Or just pigeons without the ability to iteratively intuit the correct solution to the multi-hole problem. Once you defeat him, you are just left alone in the deafening silence of Moog's mausoleum. It's just you and the giant weird egg thing. It really hammers home how pathetic Moog is. The arena you fight him in is filled with the gravestones of his dynasty. He failed to become Miquella's Elden Lord and failed to beat us while surrounded by the failures of his entire dynasty. You might even feel a little bad for him, but you shouldn't because he really sucks. We know he kidnapped a bunch of random surgeons through the power of his blood curse. We know he kidnapped a bunch of my brothers through the power of blood curse based moisturizer, but he also kidnapped Miquella through the power of just kind of walking into his house and walking out with him. This is the same Miquella that at the time was permanently cursed with the frail form of a child. The only reason Moog was even able to do this was because Millennia was too busy completely nuking Caelid because Radahn was better at PvP. And to make it worse, Moog did this to become Miquella's Elden Lord, effectively marrying him. Yeah, Moog is disgusting, but he failed long before we arrived because Miquella just kind of mentally escaped to the land of downloadable content and left behind this husk inside of the weird egg thing, which was slowly transforming into something else. I know what you are thinking. It's an egg, so Miquella was going to turn into some kind of ultimate pigeon weapon. Wrong. I have no idea why you would think that. It's obviously a cocoon. His body is actually fully modeled inside of it, and we can see that he was on his way to becoming a much taller and stronger being. So effectively, Miquella was egg maxing in order to become a cracked Giga yolk. As they say, life's an egg, crack to win, whatever that means. It's also worth mentioning that this model is the same as Morgoth's withered form, that you can find lying on the ground after you beat him. So it turns out they somehow managed to smuggle in yet another clone of Morgoth into the game. Or alternatively, maybe in the lands between, people with dry skin all look the same. Just another one of Elden Ring's endless mysteries. Moog and Morgoth were both persecuted because they had the Omen curse. They were locked up and hidden in a way.
So you're
Most don't
saying
even
you
know
want me
that
to destroy
Morgoth is
this
the
guy?
current ruler of Landell, because he hides behind the piss ghost of Godfrey. Moog even has an illusion of himself hidden down in the sewer jail, most likely left there so nobody suspects that he has escaped. Because they were imprisoned, there needed to be some way to bind their power so they couldn't escape. They used special shackles for this purpose. You can buy Morgoths from patches or find Moogs in the sewer jail. Once you have them, you can use them during their respective boss fights to briefly immobilize them and get in a few free hits. Let's just think about this for a moment. Moog and Morgoth were both cursed as children and locked away from the world. For their entire lives, they were absolutely the victims in this situation. And now here we come, using the very shackles they wore for the majority of their tortured childhood as a weapon. What did Miyazaki mean by this? Are we the baddies? The past of Moog and Morgoth contextualizes their current actions. They were both the abandoned, cursed children of Godfrey and Marika, and during the game they attempt to carve out their birthright that they were denied. Morgoth through Landell, and Moog through being a skincare salesman. This is all they have, and we come at them with the very same shackles of their past to bind them and destroy them. They will never escape the misery of their childhood. The entrance to the DLC being here adds to this tragedy. In the future, whenever someone wants to access the DLC, they will have to bring Moog's ambitions to heel. His failure will be inexorably bound to every future playthrough of the DLC. It's a truly tragic fate, but after what he did to my brothers, it's only fair. On the topic of the DLC, it makes me wonder if we could see more of Miquella's form that is inside the cocoon. Judging by the pre-release material, he'll probably look like his original form if he appears as an NPC, but if there were to be a boss fight against him, it could be against the final form of this now withered husk. So in conclusion, was there a deal here? I feel like there was some kind of deal. As to what that deal was, maybe it was that this guy sucks. Who does he think he is? Calling me lambkin, calling me maidenless. I'm done with this guy. Look at him. Goofy mask. Robes probably found on the side of the road. He literally uses a bouquet of roses as a weapon. Because blood is red and it stains the roses? Are you serious? Grow up, Vare. He worships Moog. This clown. He is ugly. He is literally maidenless. He has no friends and has spent most of his life locked away in a room. What else can I say? Losers. Complete losers. Look, word of advice. If you don't want to end up like them, you should subscribe to my channel. It would look great on your resume.
He's right, Connie! He's right! He's right. He gets it, man. He gets it. Ooh, he understands. He gets it, man. Ooh, I told you, Kalani, I was right. I was right. You all laughed at me. You all laughed at me. We're all just pigeons, man. ASMR. Ooh, I do like the lore, but I'm not in ASMR version. No siree bop. Is there a new worse episode?
These are 10 of SpongeBob's worst episodes of all time. The 10th one being Squidititis, with a rating of 4.4. The episode starts with Squidward admiring how beautiful it is outside, but sadly he's stuck working at a Krusty Krab. SpongeBob tries making him feel better by telling him that it could be worse and he could be sick, which then gives Squidward an idea. He could fake being sick and then be able to go outside. And not to bash on the episode early, but this is literally the premise of the entire episode. Squidward trying to act sick. Seems lame, but anyways, Squidward tells SpongeBob
Aren't you supposed to be at practice? What food? What food? Watch later. I heckin' love patty melts, man.
Alright, we got about 6 weeks left in the...
Hot chips and burgers. You eat hot chips? Don't worry, Connor, you're banned. No, it's fine. It's an Australian classic, and you're banned. That's it. No discussion. You're gone. You're out of here. Banned.
It's gonna be divided up.
Banned.
Oh, never thought I'd have to make this video. Okay. It's gonna be kind of tough. It's gonna be kind of tough because oh I haven't done this shit in a fucking second! Oh, I got your ass! Okay, let me fucking chill. I just spent the last 5 minutes in my bathroom rubbing my eyes with water on my shit so I could clickbait you motherfuckers! Oh, and I know you clicked away! Woo! Gang, I'm back. Okay, so where have I been? Good question. Okay, so as some of you may or may not know, okay, and I know this from the comment section, a bunch of them wondering, Dom, where the hell have you been? Why have you not uploaded a video in the last 2 months, you bitch? What the hell is going on? Okay, and the long story short is, y'all might remember that maybe 6 months to a year ago, I started a second channel called DGen Dom, where basically I was uploading gameplay videos, and still am to this day. By the way, there's one going on today over there, DGen Dom on YouTube. Okay, so there will be a link down below in the description, so if y'all have been missing my videos, you actually shouldn't have been, because there's been daily videos going out for the past 2 months, ever since I left this channel, okay? Now, anyway, over the last 2 months, I've been kind of experimenting, and I was doing a lot of daily uploads over on that channel, mostly because of the fact it's way easier. The DGen Dom videos are all videos that we edit down from live streams that I do over on kick.com. So kick.com/DGenDom, where I stream numerous days a week. By the way, you should also be following me there. Anyway, we haven't actually missed any content, like total overall, but the content here specifically on Dom Plays has been lacking. Now, that has been because of the fact that I didn't really know where I wanted to put what gameplays and how I wanted to manage the different content on each channel, okay? So if y'all had seen the DGen Dom videos, you know that the style of them is significantly different from that of Dom Plays, and I was initially going to transition a bunch of my content over to there and use that as sort of a one place that y'all could watch my gameplay, you know, for in the future. However, I've come to realize over the past 2 months that I don't know what is wrong with me, but sometimes, gang, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I need to fucking spaz! Okay, and I just lose my shit, I gotta yell, I gotta scream, and I gotta do that monkey ass shit! Anyway, I haven't had my outlet over here on Dom Plays lately, and it's been cooping up inside, it's been driving me cuckoo crazy, bitch! Bananas conquers the clown type shit, so I have to come back, we back! Now, in the meantime, over the past few months, I have figured out exactly what I want to do with the 2 different channels and how the content is going to be divided up. So, in case y'all couldn't tell prior, the videos here on Dom Plays have always been and will always be original content. Okay, things that you've never seen anywhere else. I'm not reloading like live stream videos. I'm not, even if they're like edited and technically new, I'm not doing that here, okay? These are always brand new, original, never before seen pieces of content that have never been released anywhere else in any other format, okay? That's what Dom Plays has always been, and that's what it will always be. So I was trying to figure out how to manage that, mixed with the fact that I'm playing a bunch of different games on DGen Dom. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna steal a page from my friend IGP's book. Now, my friend,
IGP's
I
sick.
never actually met him, but seems like a cool dude, and I like his idea. Okay, so if y'all don't know, IGP has his main channel, and this could be wrong, okay, but this is how I understand it, and this is how I'm gonna steal it. So if that's wrong, wow, sorry, but I was fucking been 2 months. I gotta relax. Hang on. Okay, so basically what he does, and what I'm gonna start doing, is here on the Dom Plays channel, whenever a new good game comes out, okay, and I'm talking good, okay, so like think 7 out of 10 or better, okay, if it's a dog shit or rooski game that like, come on, we all know is trash, I'm probably not gonna play it here on Dom Plays. Instead, that's gonna get uploaded on DGen Dom. Okay, so anything 7 out of 10 and below is going on DGen Dom. Anything 7 and 10 above is gonna be going here first. So y'all know how I have a nasty habit, you might say, of playing games and never finishing them. You know, I'll do like 1 episode and fuck off. Like Outlast will come out, I'll do 1 episode and then I'll bounce and you'll never see it again. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing that, but it's still gonna look the same here on the Dom Plays channel, okay? The first episode will come out here. Y'all will get it in the standard Dom Play style, the style that you love and have come to appreciate over the years. You're gonna get the first episode here, and then, depending on how well it's received, okay? If the video gets what I like to call renewed for a season 2, okay, basically y'all watch the hell out of it, y'all drop likes on it, y'all comment, and y'all support the hell out of the video. If y'all do that here on Dom Plays, then I will do the whole series through on Dom Plays.
Yeah, woo!
Instead, we're going to take the remainder of the seasons over to the budget HBO network. Well, actually, HBO's not budget.
What's up,
HBO
Legacy?
costs money. What the fuck? Okay, actually reverse them shit. Pretend it originally got released on HBO, and people liked the concept, but they weren't watching it enough. So it can't get renewed on HBO. Instead, that bitch moving over to the public access channel. Okay, you see what I'm saying? We're going from premium Dom Plays down to cheapo Janko McGee DGen Dom. Anyway, ipso facto, you still get to see the entire series. You're just gonna have to track it over 2 channels, okay? I know some of y'all are a little low IQ and that might get you bamboozled, so don't trip. Because if a video ever moves, basically what I'm going to do is from now on, anytime there's numerous parts of a series, I'm always going to put in the description a link to the next episode if there is one. Okay, if there is a next episode, then it's obviously not going to be there. But even if it's on a different channel, I'll still link it on the original video so that y'all can find it and track it across channels. Okay, so y'all following me on that? As a basic recap, there's this. All of the good games that come out, all of the good horror games that I would normally post here on Dom Plays, will start re-releasing here on Dom Plays from now on. Okay,
What's
we're
up,
back.
General?
We took a little 2-month hiatus while I was trying to figure out what to do with the 2 different channels. I've crafted up a plan. I've cooked in the kitchen. I've got the agenda locked in. Okay, so premium gameplays and like episode 1s of a lot of games are going to be here on the Dom Plays channel, and then depending on the reception and depending on how much y'all like it, either the whole series will be here on the Dom Plays channel, or if y'all aren't liking the video enough, then we'll go over to DGen Dom and we'll finish it there. Okay, again, really just check the description. You'll see a link to part 2. If it's on Dom Plays, if it's on DGen Dom, it doesn't matter. What's all my shit? I'm back. Okay, so when am I back? Let me think. So I'll probably start re-uploading. I guess I'm saying re-uploading because I'm not re-uploading anything. But like I'm gonna start releasing videos again here on Dom Plays June 1st. Listen to me and read my fucking lips. June 1st. Okay, so be ready for some banger ass content to be coming out. I'm gonna target probably anywhere between like 2 and potentially up to 5 videos a week. Okay, I want to hit a minimum of 2, but to be honest, it's just going to depend on what good games are coming out and what good games aren't coming out. In the meantime, in between the Dom Plays banger videos, y'all already know where you can go see some bullshit. DGen Dom! Okay, I've got a link to that YouTube channel down below. There's literally daily videos going out over there all the time. Just understand, I make no claims about the quality. Some of those games do dog shit. I'll try and protect you over here. Over there, you're on your own, goddammit. Watch all my videos. I'm back. See you motherfuckers June 1st. Goodbye.
I had a great experience at McCluskey.
Kalani. She hates us, Chad. She hates us.
I have to go out and get a new chair today. My chair is
Yo,
broken. I
I
jumped
got
on
a chair
it.
for you. It's leather.
I'll kill you.
It was made by 2 loving people.
I'll
It's a
kill you, I'll kill you,
31-year-old
I'll kill
chair, bro.
I have to go out and get a new chair today. My chair is
Yo,
broken. I
I
jumped
got
on
a chair
it.
for you.
I'll
It's
kill you.
leather.
I'll kill you.
It was made by two loving people.
I'll
It's
kill
a
you, I'll kill you,
31-year-old
I'll kill
chair, bro.
I have to go out and get a new chair.
Heavenly Father is older than me? Huh.
I hate that. Shut the fuck up. I hate that. I learned that kids in school these days go like this and tell the teacher to fuck off, basically. I hate that. Shut the fuck up. I hate that.
What's mewing? Chat, what's mewing? I don't understand. And why are people doing it?
Steven Yeun was known around the world for playing Glenn in The Walking Dead, but now for what was being called his next big opportunity, he's out. Steven Yeun became famous for The Walking Dead, where he did 73 episodes in the show, making $60,000 per episode, meaning he made just under $4.4 million. And his character's death was one of the most watched things in TV history, where 17.5 million people tuned in. And Steven Yeun was called the heart of The Walking Dead, where after he passed away, viewership dropped by 25%, and then 3 years later was down 85%. And after he left the show, he tried to get a role with Marvel like Denai Guerrero, who became very popular for the Black Panther movies. And even though Steven Yeun was a finalist to play the character of Shang-Chi, he didn't get the role where it ultimately went to Simu Liu. But after that rejection, Steven Yeun was cast to play the character of Sentry in the Thunderbolts movie alongside Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan. Steven Yeun was sad to say that he can't do the movie anymore because the actors and writers strike, which delayed another one of his projects which he signed first, and because that he can't do the movie. And that's the same reason Io Debris announced she will have to leave the Thunderbolts as well. And some are angry about that actress's replacement because she isn't black. But Yeun said he still wants to do Marvel one day. With that, I'm Charles Pearl, subscribe to learn something. Steven Yeun.
I think Ultra is Horizon. I don't get it. Did she like sprain herself? Did she break her dress or break her dress or skirt? I don't get it. Did it like touch her and the water was cold? Not that I seen that one.
I have Drake's phone number. Drake is like the nicest dude I've ever spoken to. I mean, I've only like texted him.
How have you got close with Drake?
It's insane. You think he's like Drake, like, but like, no, he's just a great person.
No, nigga. No!
Drake, I hate you like I'm young. Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Tryna strike
Who's
a chord.
Millie Bobby Brown?
Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Browns. I never look twice at no teenager.
I have Drake's phone number. Drake is like the nicest dude I've ever spoken to. I mean, I've only like texted him.
How have you got close with Drake?
It's insane. You.
Who's Millie Bobby Brown?
New safety officer here. I checking the site. Okay. Hopefully everything okay. I can pass you. We can go home. Huh? Hey! Over there. Wait. Your weight is not nearly enough to hold down the tree. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't know you hired Spider-Man. Shouldn't you be in New York City? How's electricity over here? I'm pretty sure he's from the bomb squad. What he doing on the site? Sir, are you standing on the platform we're trying to get rid of? You know it's just gonna drop down. Yeah, exactly like, okay. How many Spider-Man we have on the site? What's this, the spider of us? Hell, I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to be storing flames like that. You know what?
What kind of actor? What does she do? I've never heard of her. I've only heard of her from like the Drake stuff. What does she do? She's special? I know who Billie Eilish is, but she's like old now, isn't she? She's only like a few years younger than me.
Please put it out. I said put it out, not burn the whole site. Put them in jail. Subscribe, see you again.
Put
New
them in jail.
like this, and I like it
Okay, so she making a cake.
like that, and I like it pet the cat, and I like it pet.
Man, I thought that was cake because it looked like cornbread.
Oh, I thought that was cake, but it looked like cornbread. He make me laugh.
Kitty, cat.
Okay, so a lot of white Oreos and 3 black ones.
A-T.
What is that?
Kitty, cat.
Now, what kind of cake is she making? Why is it in a plastic bin?
Kitty, cat.
All these ingredients gonna give me the sugars.
What?
Wait, did she just make boo-boo Tootsie Rolls? What in the pale people pastry? Lord have mercy.
Unleashing our autism on Boulder's Gate. Unleashing our autism on Boulder's Gate. I'm with it. I'm with it. You said Dragon Age 2 isn't good. I'll watch that later.
Lyon College has been changing lives and building a better world through education for over 150 years. Here at Lyon, students do more than just earn. They find their why. Take the first steps to finding your why at Lyon College today.
Bring on the flavor with Firehouse Subs Barbecue Cuban Sub with slow-smoked pulled pork, honey ham, Swiss cheese, golden mustard barbecue sauce, slaw, and spicy pickle chips. It's Southern barbecue with a Cuban twist. Only at Firehouse Subs.
I'm all about putting your hand in the glory hole.
You gotta try every hole once.
It's a trap.
My guardian warned me about it being a trap a little too late.
Oh, thanks. Almost.
The tendrils tighten, and suddenly...
When do you use your inspiration points?
Elsewhere.
You don't ever use yours.
What's the worst that could happen?
So this would be the point to use them. Yeah.
We're on 2 different spectrums. You use yours for stupid bullshit. I, even in like dire situations, will not use mine.
The shit hurts. Fidget spinner. Give that back. She needs that.
She needs that.
She'd get all anxious with that.
Yeah, her autism is crippling. You don't understand. Look at her.
She's gonna start yelling at restaurants now. Can't take her anymore.
Wow.
Wait. Oh, it was difficulty class 0. I rolled a 1 and I still succeeded.
Yeah, I thought that was an automatic failure.
They saw Shadowheart stimming back there and they're like, alright, you can have it back. I feel bad now.
You can have it.
I have an autistic son. I understand.
I have an autistic son. I understand. I can't. Freaking Pongzi Fu kills me, man. Zifu kills me, man. Yeah, I hear myself. Let me like this video and just get out of here. Zifu kill. The SpongeBob episode everyone hates. I'll humor it.
SpongeBob SquarePants! Again! If you're an average cartoon enjoyer, chances are you like SpongeBob SquarePants. Sure, this TV show can sometimes be annoyingly silly and even downright stupid at times, but I think everyone can agree there's some redeeming qualities here. But that's not to say this goofy little cartoon doesn't come with its fair share of controversy. Listen, you can avoid its newest episodes, you can pretend anything after the first movie doesn't exist, but every now and then, there comes a moment so bad, so horrendous, that it's impossible to ignore. In my last SpongeBob video, I covered the lowest rated episodes ever, but even then, I got like a bajillion comments about 2 different episodes, with people commenting things like, it's so goddamn disgusting, and one of the last SpongeBob video, I covered the lowest rated episodes ever, but even then, I got like a bajillion comments about 2 different episodes.
What was that? You saw that like little 1 frame of something? What was that? Y'all saw that?
So bad, so horrendous, that it's impossible to ignore. In my last SpongeBob video, I covered the lowest rated episodes ever, but even then, I got like
there it was! Frick, I missed it.
To ignore. In my last SpongeBob video, I covered the lowest rated episodes ever, but even then, I got like
Canadian accent coming through on that one. Ah, got you. But I wouldn't worry it.
with people commenting things like, it's so goddamn disgusting, and one of the most horribly written episodes SpongeBob ever produced. Alright. You got me intrigued. So today, I'll be trusting the viewers and taking a look at the 2 most hated SpongeBob episodes in full for the first time to see if they're really that bad. Like worse than A Pal for Gary? Are you sure? I don't know about that one. That one's pretty bad. Anyway, I'm gonna quit stalling the intro, so go ahead and grab your copy of Super Mario... The fucking Buster Sword! I just got this thing. I wanted to show it off. Pretty cool, right? Well, without further ado, let's jump into what some call the most hated SpongeBob episode of all time. This first episode is probably the least disturbing of the 2. It's called Ink Lemonade.
Yeah,
and if you've seen this episode before,
terrible.
You know why people hate it. We begin our adventure with Patrick being a goofball. He's selling lemonade? So close. At the same time, Squidward comes out holding a garbage bag. The 2 talk for a bit. Patrick is really stupid, Squidward is really grouchy. It's a fun time. In my last SpongeBob video, Patrick and Squidward just weren't there, so this is actually kind of hype. Especially Squidward. He's the best. Anyway, Patrick tries to get Squidward to drink some lemonade, but because Squidward isn't colorblind, he notices it's just regular water.
You should be hidden under your rock like the hideous freak you are. And you even have a
okay, Squidward. Bro woke up and he chose violence. That's crazy. Not to worry though, because luckily for Patrick, the garbage bag that Squidward was about to throw out is full of lemons, apparently. Maybe he just really likes lemon cake. I don't know. Anyway, this is obviously not intended to be helpful, since the lemon came from the garbage and is all squished and stuff. And it's here where we get the first of this episode's gross scenes. If you're not abnormally queasy to visual stuff, you'll probably be fine. But huge disclaimer, this is kind of gross. Patrick notices the broken lemon, so we get one of those hyper-realistic shots where he takes off a used bandage from his hairy armpit and then puts it on the lemon. That thing is basically good as new now. Good job. Everyone's seen these kind of shots before. Not sure how they became a thing. Not sure who thought it was a good idea, but here we are. Of course, Patrick puts the still broken lemon and the used band-aid into the jug of water, and then almost immediately some random fish we've never seen before is like, yep, I'll take it. I'm drinking this right now. But then, the fish quickly realizes what he just drank and gets very sick. But it's not all bad though, because at least this way Patrick gets his band-aid back.
Sorry, that's not included. I'm gonna be sick.
This fish dude goes to Squidward's house to puke, because why not? Later on, there actually is this really funny scene where because Patrick is out of water, he tries to squeeze liquid out of a toy truck. Squidward says that'll never work, but of course, it does. Like, you've probably heard of microplastics before, but this is just straight up plastic juice. And just like that, I know every American within a 30-mile radius of this thing is lining up to take a sip. Anyway, SpongeBob finally shows up, and it's in the most SpongeBob-like way imaginable, which is by screaming and just being really annoying. Seriously, you probably think that I kind of hate SpongeBob the way that I talk about him sometimes, but I promise you, this thing is like one of my all-time favorite shows ever. The thing is, the great SpongeBob episodes are really, really good, but the bad SpongeBob episodes are extremely bad. Like, creatively bankrupt. They just gave a pen and paper to a monkey or something. I don't know. They didn't care. So SpongeBob shows up, and because he's yelling right next to him, Squidward gets really scared and shoots out a bunch of ink into the jug of water. This is a little gross, I guess, because Squid's inking seems kind of dirty in a weird way, but I think people actually do put ink in their food sometimes. Honestly, I have no idea. Do people consume squid ink? I don't. Let me know. I'm too lazy to Google it.
I think.
What does make me feel a little weird is how Squidward reacts to inking. He seems visibly worried or at least embarrassed, which I know in the lore of SpongeBob, Squidward's like the guy you're supposed to hate or whatever, but I can't help but to feel bad for him here. I don't know. SpongeBob decides to drink the ink right away because I guess he's got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
That's the second thing in this episode that he has in common with Valorant players. And then of course another fish shows up and asks for a glass of the black lemonade, and wouldn't you know it, this fish loves it. Apparently this stuff is like crack. I like the jazz in the background. Hold up. The jazz goes hard, but what is going on? So now the boys have the new biggest trend in all of Bikini Bottom, black lemonade. The only problem is they don't have any ink left to make it. However, will they get more, I wonder? Let's find out. The next shot is Patrick asking Squidward for more ink, but when he declines, Patrick realizes the only way to get what he wants is to take it by force. Or in this case, just scare Squidward so bad that he shoots ink out of his nose as a natural reflex. You know, if nothing else comes from this episode, at least they found a creative way to use actual marine biology to serve its plot. One big clap for that one, person who isn't Steven Hillenburg. Anyway, that's the plot now. Patrick just tries to scare Squidward the whole episode. Creative way to use actual marine biology to serve its plot. One big clap for that one, person who isn't Steven Hillenburg.
I have let this
Anyway,
happen.
that's the plot now. Patrick just tries to scare Squidward the whole episode. I'm not even kidding here, he just rips his own skin off because it's shocking, I guess. To be honest, if I saw this in front of my door, I'd probably collapse on the spot. So, Patrick got the goods, but because the lemonade stand is starting to gain some traction, the boys are gonna need a lot more ink and fast. This is basically Nickelodeon's version of a crypto scam, by the way. They're just lying to people and making millions off it. It's all very cool.
Lapse in my judgment.
Patrick then gets a giant spider to enter Squidward's house to scare the bejesus out of him. Squidward gets scared and snorts out more ink.
Why is
There's
it
a much
coming
bigger
out of
line
his
now, so Patrick needs to get more. It's this next sequence that makes this one of the most hated episodes ever, at least in my opinion. We see Squidward hiding all over the house, looking terrified. Everything is trash and covered in ink, which, like, Patrick, just grab that stuff. You know, it's like, it's already there. There's a bunch of it. Squidward gets a knock on the door, but when he opens it and checks it out, he gets locked out of his own house and enters this weird cabin thing that I need to remind you Patrick built because he wants ink. Surely he could have just bought some at the nearest bargain mart, but okay. Anyway, everything that happens in this cabin is really scary. There's a bunch of references to actual good movies. How quirky. 2 gallons of ink later, and Squidward ends up at the entrance of an almost identical Krusty Krab, and alongside that, he finds a newspaper that's dated 60 years into the future. He goes inside the building to find a puppet of himself still working at the restaurant and asking for his order. The idea here is that he's literally looking at a future version of himself and will be stuck working at the Krusty Krab forever. He will never accomplish his dreams, he will never find peace and solace, he will forever live out his greatest nightmare, which is to never be happy and to never gain the confidence needed to leave the job he hates working at every single day. A little deep for a kid's show, honestly, but... Alright, so Squidward is just drenching this puppet in ink, right? Obviously this episode sucks because it ranges from a little gross to borderline unwatchable, depending on who you ask, but it's also straight up just a Squidward torture episode now. Did we learn nothing from the last video, guys? Come on, stop torturing people who just want to be alone, okay? They don't deserve it. Anyway, the line for the lemonade stand got even bigger, if you can imagine that. Must be a boring day at the bottom of the ocean.
You mean you people actually drink this?
Squidward's like, you guys know what this shit is, right? But then, in a clever twist, Squidward realizes what's going on, so he pushes the boys aside and decides to sell his own ink to make lots of money. In doing this, he reveals to everyone what they've actually been waiting in line for this entire time, which is a little disappointing. I imagine this is how people who bought a PS5 on release day felt when they waited 24 hours outside for a console with no games. Real talk though, Squidward just inks on everyone, which is as disturbing as you think it is, so then of course everyone just rushes to his house and pukes all at once. Just why? Why did they do that? And that was the second most hated SpongeBob episode. Was it bad? Yep. It was. The writing is kind of annoying and repetitive. The narrative gets a little dark for no reason. Like, you know, I'm a 6-year-old, I just want to laugh. Why am I watching this? But I'll get more into that later, because now we have to jump into what a lot of people call the most hated SpongeBob episode.
I don't know if I
all
hate
time.
the most hated. I think I know
This
what they're
episode
talking
is
about.
called
Yeah, the splitter. Yeah, that's what I thought they were
why
going to
this
say.
episode is so bad. The other half are about to turn the video off. This episode starts with SpongeBob getting hype as hell to start work for the day. That's how you know this is a fictional story. We see him prepping everything in the kitchen so he can start cooking. This is ironic because the writers of this episode did not cook jack shit. The conflict happens when SpongeBob accidentally flings his spatula into the ceiling and gets stuck there.
Whatever you do,
when I watched this,
for
I
less.
don't know. I didn't
And
hate
Harbor
it.
Freight.
But that's because I wasn't looking like deep down into it at the
Sonic
time.
$1.99
No.
crispy tender wraps.
Now that I'm an adult and I criticize everything under the sun.
Since when is the roof so goddamn high in that building? What? To retrieve it, SpongeBob makes a single giant stack of things like boxes, tartar sauce, swords, you know, things you find in a kitchen. While trying to get the spatula unstuck, all the sharp things fall out and land with their sharp end up because, you know, of course they do. Eventually, however, SpongeBob gets his spatula free, but at the cost of falling down directly into the swords. I'm not even kidding, while he's falling to the floor, he straight up just closes his eyes and accepts his death. Yes, take me. It is over. Like, aren't you a sponge? I think you'll be fine, man. Alright, check it. Sponge? Right here. Okay. Watch. It's still a sponge. Anyway, as luck would have it, SpongeBob, of course, just doesn't seem to die here. This is a really good representation of the franchise as a whole. But then, the mood changes when SpongeBob immediately slips on some sauce and is headed straight for the ground. Another disclaimer! Seriously this time. Okay, listen, I'm being serious. This next scene can be pretty disturbing for some people, especially for something in a silly cartoon. So if you get really queasy easily and you think you're gonna have a hard time, I put a little tiny GIF at the bottom of your screen throughout this entire next section. Just stare at that. Okay, it'll help you through it. So like I said, SpongeBob trips. It's in slow motion and super epic. But wouldn't you know it, one of his thumbs lands perfectly in line with a thin piece of wood, which this episode loves to zoom in on and show entering his finger. The wood enters his finger, he gets a really bad splinter. This whole moment is like 4 seconds total, which, if you don't think that's a long time, it's just long enough to be awkward. Anyway, so now SpongeBob has this disgusting splinter in his thumb. It's not that bad though, right? Like, what's the worst that can happen? Naturally, he tries to take it out, but I'm not kidding. Every time he tries, he screams of pain because it's so unpleasant. I just don't want to watch this. Eventually, SpongeBob just accepts his fate as the guy who has a splinter in his finger forever and just works through.
Splinter. The drive to make 25 cents an hour. Alright.
The pain. In the middle of this, we get a quick Squidward bit where he actually smiles, since he's not the butt of the joke for once. I'm just gonna show it here because it makes me happy.
Looks like I'm crushing your face.
Eventually, Squidward thinks something's up, so he decides to go check in on SpongeBob, and of course, because this episode decided to be as gross as possible, when SpongeBob shows Squidward the splinter, it's now full of pus, and this weird slimy green goo is dripping out of it. Just look at the GIF, guys. Okay, the splinter isn't real. It can't hurt you. This splinter does give Squidward an idea, however. He realizes that he can screw with SpongeBob a bit by telling him the splinter is a work-related injury, so if Mr. Krabs finds out about it, he'll be forced to send him home. And then because SpongeBob loves working so much, this isn't a good thing for him, and he gets super scared and tries to hide the splinter from Mr. Krabs the entire episode. It's fun time. You'd think it'd be very in character for Mr. Krabs not to care at all about his workers' injuries, and to just force them to work anyway,
I don't know what that means,
but I guess not. Maybe he's gone soft, I don't know. SpongeBob is all sad and stuff now. There's this bit about how Mr. Krabs can sense when things are wrong with his nose, but it doesn't really involve anyone of note, and it was just another way to show off how cheap he is, really.
These quarters smell sad.
That's copper, actually. Anyway, SpongeBob really needs to get this splinter thing resolved ASAP or else he'll get sent home, so he calls who he thinks is the best doctor in all of Bikini Bottom, Patrick. Oh boy. There's this bit where Patrick puts SpongeBob's feet in his mouth. If I had any shred of optimism left in my life, this would probably be really funny. The splinter is really painful at this point, like SpongeBob's crying and stuff, so Patrick does what he's been hired to do and takes it out. How does he do this, you might ask? Well, check this silly little GIF at the bottom of the screen, because he doesn't get the splinter out at all, but instead grabs a big wooden hammer and whacks it even further into the thumb. Jesus, why would you let this guy touch your body? Like, stay away from Patrick, always. If you see this man, run away. The thumb swells up a lot, and to fix it, Patrick grabs a bunch of rotten garbage from the bin and just plasters it onto the splinter. It's just, it's not pleasant. I don't know, it's gross. It's weird. Obviously this doesn't fix it, it makes it a lot worse, and basically no one's happy. What a good episode so far. It turns blue and more goo comes out, so Patrick leaves, and then SpongeBob heads inside. When all of a sudden, Mr. Krabs is there waiting for him. SpongeBob is actually super scared now, he tries to hide his finger. The way he does it is kind of funny, I guess, but it drags on for a while, I won't lie. Eventually he gives up and just shows the thing, and it's genuinely the worst thing I've seen in a very long time.
It was perfect. It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
The only thing that could have made this worse is if they did one of those hyper-realistic shots like they did earlier in the other episode. But thankfully, the animators just wanted to make this a little bit disgusting. Squidward faints because it's actually just really gross. Mr. Krabs just pulls out the splinter like it's nothing, which doesn't make any sense, and all the gross liquids inside SpongeBob's finger spray onto the floor. And now his finger is just better, I guess. All better. It's like nothing happened at all. The episode finishes when Mr. Krabs mentions workers' compensation, which is when you get paid whilst injured. Squidward overhears this and immediately bashes his own brains in with the cash register. Get it? That's us. But of course, he doesn't get any money though because his shift ended 2 minutes ago. How unfortunate. Had to make him the butt of the joke at least one time. And that was the most hated SpongeBob episode ever, apparently. It's a lot easier to see why people hated this last one, in my opinion. It's just really gross, doesn't really go anywhere, it's not really funny, writing's bad. SpongeBob likes work, but he's got a huge splinter in his hand, doesn't really scream good idea, does it? And as for the first one, I found it less gross, but still weird, and torturing Squidward for a full 10 minutes is like never enjoyable, to be honest. And listen, I know there's gonna be a good chunk of people watching this that are like, well, I actually watched both of these episodes while eating food. I'm a manly person, I don't get grossed out by anything. And that's cool, I'm happy to enjoy it. At least, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just a cartoon, so enjoy it or don't. Doesn't matter. I'm just calling out what I think is bad writing and really weird artistic choices for a show marketed to 10-year-olds. That's my life now. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the video a bunch. The more I grow, the more I can make these videos. Thank you to all my members.
They got like serious, unnecessarily serious, and it was scaring Squidward for so long.
Has your breath been smelling a little too good lately?
Wasn't. I don't know. That just wasn't funny. Other one wasn't funny, but I don't know. I guess maybe because I saw it first. I don't know.
If you're one of the 3 people who are keeping up with Mortal Kombat 1, you'll know the game is pretty much dead. If you take a gander at Steam charts, you'll see quite a steep decline from its release. In fact, Mortal Kombat 11 is currently beating it out in amount of people playing, and that game is 5 years old, while Mortal Kombat 1 is only 6 months old, and Mortal Kombat 11 didn't even have great rave reviews from fans. On release, Mortal Kombat 1 had next to nothing in terms of single-player content. It had the campaign that could be beaten on your day off, and Invasions, which sucks ass in its own special way. No actual crits, no daily ladders, no cool special game modes. Absolutely insane.
Hey, Evil.
Hey, Vidal. What is it?
I was expecting to see you here.
So was I, Vidal. So was I.
You exist to cause me suffering.
Aha, Vidal, you might be onto
You're
something
quiet
here.
compared to the video. That's because I'm far away on purpose. I'm gonna close the YouTube.
The year is 2020.
You know, of all the plants in Plants vs. Zombies 2, the walnut...
Dead center. The lives of your fellow soldiers are counting on it. What do you think you're doing, walking around dressed like a